majorly. First type of interface is the outbound interface, and second one is inbound interface. These two types of interfaces majorly we will develop in our real time also. Outbounding, we will share the data to third party, and inbounding, we are collecting data from third party and we are loading into PeopleSoft system. Let us say, first we are dealing with outbound. We are dealing the data, we are sharing the data to our benefit vendors. Your PeopleSoft client is maintaining core HR, that means employee data in PeopleSoft, and benefits also in PeopleSoft. Then some benefit providers will be there for every organization. Health providers, life admin providers, savings plans providers, spending account providers, everyone. Then you are sharing the eligible employees who opted the plan. Otherwise, who all employees are opted the benefit plan, who all employees are terminated the benefit plan. You are sharing this information to your benefit vendor on an interval basis, like it's in 15 days or 30 days before the payroll run. Then, first of all, whenever we are outbounding the data, based on the client requirement, we need to prepare one structure, data structure, like I'm sharing employee ID, I'm sharing benefit plan type, benefit plan, plan start date, plan end date, deduction amount, so on so. All these details I'm giving to my benefit vendor. Let us say this is the benefits navigation in PeopleSoft. This is the navigation of benefits in PeopleSoft. Here, benefits. Let's say Muraligaru in purchasing, might be you developed some of the XQRs to to share the information to the client. Then, let's say in purchasing, finance also, some outbounding interfaces we can design. Like let's say your client is not doing payments in PeopleSoft. From third-party system, they are doing the payments. Then your PeopleSoft system is sharing purchase order data, approved purchase order data to the payment system. Then you are collecting all purchase orders information in a file, who are all approved or everything. That means, you know, right, the terminology, approved purchase order.
Oh, yes, I wrote a lot of, you can't believe, I wrote a lot of interfaces like that.
The same purchase orders information we can prepare through an application engine also.
Yes.
First point, we have to decide in which way we are sharing the data. Okay. By using application engine, we are sharing the data. Then, what is the table? What are all the tables? Like let's say here, select start from. This is the table where we can see all the savings plans information. This is the plan type, and this is the benefit plan. Here is the employee ID. Who opted the plan type 40, and benefit plan is K141K, and plan start date, coverage begin date, coverage elect date, coverage end date if he terminated the benefit plan, like that. Now, among this information, here is the benefits and enrolling benefits. Here, simple benefits, health benefits, life admin benefits, disability benefits, savings plans. Okay, let's say savings plans. We opted the savings plans here. Here, if you clicked on, if you open any of the employee here, now here, from this particular table, I would like to select star from, this is not star, sorry, employee ID, comma, plan type, comma, benefit plan, comma, coverage, begin date, coverage begin date, okay, coverage end date, come on, okay, flat reduction amount, okay, all these fields, amount from savings plan table. If you query like this, you may get some duplicates like this. These two rows are we are getting for an employee for the same plan type and some different plans. Even you will get some duplicates also. Why? Because this table is effective dated here. This table is effective dated. Then what should we do here? We have to write the effective dated query. We have to write the effective dated query. Then what should we do here? Here we have to write max effective date logic. Just observe carefully. Here we are just preparing our basic query. Just I am giving some alias names to prepare the effective date query. Where a dot effective date equals to, within this query I am writing, select max of a1 dot effective date from the same table a1, where here we have to match all the key fields within this table. Open the table here. This is the table. Here is the savings plans page in the front end. Here is the employee ID, plan type, coverage begin date, deduction begin date, coverage mode, he elected, he waived or terminated, what is the benefit program, benefit plan, everything. Here is the record, savings plans record. Here you will see all these are the key fields: employee ID, employer ID, plan type, benefit number, and effective date. We have to map all these key fields here, where a dot employee ID equals to a1 dot employee ID and a dot employer CD equals to a1 dot employer CD and a dot plan type equal to a1 dot plan type and a dot benefit number equals to a1 dot benefit number and a1 dot effective date less than or equal to, in Oracle we will use sysdate, but here we will use getDate. This is the query we have to write. This is called effective dated query. If your program is effective dated, then we will prepare this effective. Sorry, if your record is effective dated, then you have to prepare this effective dated query. Earlier, if you query like this, May you will get 645 rows, 544 rows. It's reduced. Why? Because we use the max effective dated logic. For every employee now, you will get only one row. There is no duplications. So very, very important query. Effective dated query. This data I would like to share with my client, my savings plan provider. This is the data. This is the data. Srinivas, do you understood this query? You understood, right? Without any doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
Fine. Now, I would like to use this query and I would like to fetch the data. We will write a file. This is our target. This is the data I would like to write on the file. Now, okay, this is the major table. Now, I am creating one application engine here. This application engine I am naming as just save it as benefit outlay. Okay, benefit outbound. Now, here in this program, I am including an action. Here, please write the clear instructions what you are doing here. Benefit outbound. Benefit outbound file logic I am writing here. Okay, here I am writing the people code. Code to write file data, something like that. That means, for better understanding, if anybody came and reviewing your application engine, he can understand, okay, fine, this is the step, this is the purpose of the people code. Now, I am writing the code now. First of all, what is our target? Our target is to develop one outbound file. We need a file to write the data. To write the data, we need a SQL to get the data. That means two objects we require, file, SQL. I am declaring it as a local file, ampersand, benefit, file. Local SQL, ampersand, benefit, SQL. Next. Where is the file? Let's say here I am creating one folder, output folder for you. Let's say outbound. This is the folder path. This is my target path. Here I would like to generate the file. Then, first of all, I have to derive the file path here into this file variable. Get file. Where is the file? Here is the file path. Here is the file path. Now here I am giving my file name as employee benefit data dot text file. For what purpose you are getting the file? For writing purpose. For writing purpose, we are getting the file. And here I am giving my file variable, file path absolute. What is this file path absolute? We are giving the absolute file path here, the full file path. In some of the scenarios, in real time, you will see the file paths are like this. They won't give you the full file path. Then, in those scenarios, you will use relative. This is the file path, not the absolute file path. Depends on your client requirement and depends on your client system structure. In real time, where we can get this file path? We have to contact our functional team, or we have to contact our PeopleSoft admins. What is the file path for outbounding programs? Whenever we are outbounding a file, there should be some specific file paths are available. We have to pick that file path there, and we have to use that file path in our program. And based on the environment also, it may differ, the file path. Then you have to write the file path logic based on the environment. This is the file path. Is it clear, right?
Yes.
Next, coming to the SQL. Earlier, we used one SQL logic, SQL EXEC in our programming. There, we are getting the data. There, we are getting the data. Sorry. But whenever we are using SQL EXEC function to get the data, we are getting only one row of data. We are not getting multiple rows. That's why here I am using alternate function, that is create SQL. Create SQL also will execute the SQL written into it. Here I am using ampersand employee ID, ampersand plan type, I am getting data from here. We got the file, we prepared the SQL. And now, what is the next step? Simply, we have to write the file. But there is multiple rows of data. Each and every row of data we have to write in the file. That's why I am creating a logic. While, can you tell me what is the loop, file loop here?
While can you get what was the question? Can you?
No. While I'm writing a loop, what is the question?
Yes. I mean, while the file usually while one or we'll say like while the file
Generally, the while loop we will use at the starting stage, it will set the condition and it will write the code, right?
Yes.
The same way here, dot fetch, right?
Okay, got it.
Where is the data? Here in the variable. And while. Within this loop, we have to write that. All right. What we have to write? We have to write a file. Where is the file? There is the file. Dot write line. Simple. Sorry. Here is the data. We won't give the comma directly here. Now your program is ready. Okay. Now you have to write the data. Now once your program is completed successfully, your data will be loaded into this file. Okay, let's say we will run the program. Here you can run the program. Whenever you are running your application in program, you have to concentrate on this. Here, once you click on this run button, what are all the information you have to provide? Run control ID, process instance, all these things. Here the run control ID. It's a must. It's a mandatory field. I'm giving 1, 2, 3, any number you can give or any text you can give. Process instance number also you can give your output log to file. We have to create a log file. If your program got failed, you have to check the log. That's why here I'm writing my data into this log file. My log file is here. Next, uncheck the run minimize. I would like to check my program run. Click on OK. Your program is running now. Your program run is completed. Now this is the temp. Here is your program log file. Here first operand of dot is not an object, so cannot access member employee ID. Statement number 2.
Did you click Control G and to get that?
What was that? Control G.
Okay.
Okay.
ఒకసారి కోడ్కి వెళ్తారా ఒకసారి
Sure.
వైల్ లూప్ ని టర్మినేట్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదా వైల్ లో ఎండ్ కి
ఓకే చేశాను
ఇక్కడ వైల్ లో
ఇక్కడ అక్కర్లేదు కదా.
ఓకే ఓకే
ఇంకా అవసరం. 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's say one set. I don't think so. Okay, might be just a wonder. Okay, ended normally. Okay, ended normally means without any issues, it's close the file. Here is the data file. If you open the data, here is the data. You can create some CSV files also through this application designer. Like let's say in the place of txt, here I am using CSV, comma separated version, simply CSV. Now your file will generate in
Excel
CSV
spreadsheet.
format. Yes, CSV is nothing but Excel spreadsheet. Like this. Your Excel data will be opened like this. Here. Now I would like to place a heading for this file like employee ID, plan type, benefit plan, coverage begin date, coverage end date, deduction amount. Where we can give it, here is within the people code itself, where we have to write that particular logic. I would like to place a heading on top of file.
Yeah, while loop లో ఫస్ట్ హెడింగ్ రాసి తర్వాత if it's
ఇక్కడ
yeah,
ఇక్కడ రాయాలన్నారా?
అవును
నాకు ఇక్కడ ఎవ్రీ లైన్ కి హెడింగ్ అక్కర్లేదు కదా?
అవును కరెక్టే, కానీ అంటే లాజిక్ కొద్దిగా క్రియేట్ చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఫస్ట్ లైన్ మాత్రమే హెడింగ్, తర్వాత డేటా
అక్కర్లేదు. వైల్ లూప్ బయట
బయట.
out of the while loop you are
Yeah,
writing
you're
the
right.
heading
You're right. You're right.
simply. Srinivas, are you following with me, right?
Follow అవుతున్నానండి.
Here simply I'm writing a heading like this. Heading are static, that's why I'm using this double quotes. Coverage begin date, coverage end date. Now, just run this program one more time. Now you can check it here. Like this. Plan type, benefit plan, coverage begin date, coverage end date, flat reduction amount. We successfully generated the file with heading. Now, if I'm asking you, okay, employee ID and name should be displayed. But name is not there in this table, name is not available in the savings plan tab. Where we can get the name? We can get the name through, we can get the name from personal data. Then we have to join the table with the personal data table. That means here we have to add the query like this. Simple join here. I would like to add employee ID, comma, B dot first name B dot first name. Otherwise, like let's say B dot name. Okay, first name, first level practice. First name, comma, PS underscore personal underscore data B, where there is a common key field employee ID equal to B dot employee. Now at the end here you will add name also. Here you will add the name. That means wherever you are handling this data, you have to handle the same.
This whatever you are writing like and name, that is variable, and
Yes, yes.
it's a auto declared variable.
Yes.
Okay. అక్కడ మీరు రాస్తున్నప్పుడు there are two wares అండి. You have to change it. The first sequence. And if we want to have a fixed width file అంటే
very good question. Then we have to write the logic like employee ID length is 11. Then you have to write the logic like this. If, very good question, employee ID, length length of employee is less than 11, so less than 11, then we have to fill the gap of the employee with blanks. We have to write that logic. Got my point? Fill, there is a fill logic to load the data. Let us say if employee is 1, 2, 3, 4, then it will fill the remaining gaps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 like this. But if you are generating any fixed length file, this is not the best method to write the outbound file. The best method is we will use the file layout to generate the outbound file. File layout is also, there is a separate tool which we will use to create the file structure. I will show you in our upcoming sessions. Very good question.
Okay.
Now, here name also I am adding, employee name. Now, if you run this program again, now it will display the name also. Like this. This is the employee name, plan type, benefit plan, coverage begin date, coverage end date, flat amount. Now, again, one more requirement. Like let's say your client is asking only eligible employees data. E for eligible, T for terminate, W for where. He is asking only eligible employees data. Simple. You can tell me like this, I am Venkat, you can write like this, A dot coverage underscore elect equals to E. Now, earlier you got 645 rows. Now, you will get only 282 rows, only eligibility. Got it? Now, where I am adding the logic here. Here I am adding the logic here. Now, it will generate.
Only employees.
Only eligible employees.
Eligible. If we want to if we want to FTP it, then this file we have to write within this people code. Or?
FTP or email?
Both.
Okay. We will write the code within this portion also, but depends in which way you are sharing the file with your client. That means server to server or just you are emailing the file.
Sometimes we send by email and sometimes using SFTP.
For SFTP, there must and should be some server connection should be developed, right?
Yeah.
That means whenever you are whenever your client is asking for FTP, already there should be some code written in your client earlier applications or SPR. You can use it. Well, because some specific standard structure should be there, right?
Right.
That's right. For emailing, we will see it later.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you will see the limited rows, 283 rows are there. That means your file is now generating only employees with eligibility criteria is E, eligible. Now tomorrow if I'm asking only waived employees, then you will change the value to W and you will execute it, you will get 239 rows. Day after tomorrow if I'm asking only terminated employees, then you are just running your query with terminated status. Only 23 rows. Fine. But how many times you will change this variable value? That means EWT here. Your user is asking the question, I need one access, I need an access to select the variable before running the program. First of all, I would like to run this program through front end. Okay, let's say first save a project. Where we can run this program through the front end. Okay, sign into the PeopleSoft. Why? Because users don't know about the application engine in the application designer. They need one specific access in the front end to run the program. People tools, process scheduler, processes. Define each specific run request by identifying a variety of variables. Here in the processes tab, go to add a new value. What is the process type you are adding? You are adding a process type application engine. Without adding your process here in this processes tab, you won't run your process from the front end. Add a new value. Application engine, and my process name is SRI, then OUT. Click on add. Whenever you are adding your application engine to the front end, where is the navigation to run? First point. In front end, user is asking us, please give us one navigation to run the program. That means there should be one run button on the front end. To click on the run button, we need one navigation. We have to give them the navigation.
I mean, we have to do all the page, creating a page and everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Now, here I'm giving the description, employee savings plan, outbound. Okay, next. Priority, always please prefer its medium. In real time, depends on your client requirement. The process category, always use default as the process category, even in real time. Please don't change anything in this first page. Go to this page, process definition options. Here, the server name. If you are not giving any server name, it will take some default server, which is running now. It's a Unix server or NT server, depends on your client structure. Recurrence name depends on your frequency of run. Like let's say every day you are running, every week you are running, every 5 weeks you are running, every month you are running. Depends on your frequency. Like this. All these are the frequencies are available: daily, weekly, Friday, so on and so. Can we create our own recurrence? Yes, in the process scheduler, here is the recurrence. There you can create the recurrence. Next, process security. We need a component to run the program. As of now, we have not created any component. Then PRCS multi is the component. It's a delivered component. We can utilize this component for our test runs. PRCS multi. And the process group is a permission who are all the users can run this program. How you will decide who are all the users can run the program through a process group. We will discuss about it whenever we are dealing the security concepts. Now just click on save. Fine. Where is this component? Where is this component? In the same navigation process scheduler, system process requests is the component navigation. Here also the run control ID this is asking. We are picking the run control ID. Once you enter into the page, you will see this is the page. We can call it as a run control page. It's a run control ID, and here is the text. Observe carefully. To submit a process request, click the run button. If you click on the run button, you will see a variety of processes are attached to this delivered run control page and component. You will see a list of processes. We can pick our process from that particular list and we can run it. To run the processes, your process scheduler server to be up. Process scheduler server to be up. It is not running. I will show it tomorrow. Once it is up, here in this component tab, all these processes are attached to this component. Where is our process? Here is our process. Employee savings plan outbound. This is our process name and this is our process type. And what is this? It's a type of run and the format of the output. Next, click on OK. Automatically your process will run and it will execute the file also. But your process scheduler server is not up in the system. That's why your process will be in queued mode only. That means
So
the server is not up. Go ahead.
So whatever the component we gave under the processes, under the security multi, so all the programs whatever we saw under this process monitor are associated to that multi. Is that right?
System process request, yes, you're right. In how many processes you are attaching PRCS multi as a component, then all the processes are available under the component PRCS multi.
Okay, okay.
If you are designing a component, if you are designing a page specifically for your process run, then you will give the particular component name over there.
Okay, okay. Got it. Thank
Is
you.
it clear, Murali?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Tomorrow we will see how can we run the process from the front end and how we will give run control parameter access for our user to pick the parameter. Why? Because user is picking this coverage alert. Okay, now I am running the process for my coverage alert code is terminated. If he clicks on run, then only terminated list of employees will come on the file. If he selected my alert status is eligible, then all eligible employees will load on the file. This logic should be developed in tomorrow's session. Is it okay, both of you?
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Meet you tomorrow.
Okay, sure. Good night.